investors at the Nigerian equities market remain cautious on subdued market activities. Analysts at Norrenberger Securities expect selective buying interest in fundamentally sound stocks amid intermittent profit-taking as those may persist. Timilehin Junaid, research analyst at Norrenberger Securities, joins me now for market updates. Thanks a lot for joining us on the show today, Timilehin. Now, the market is in a flip-flop thanks to the bears coming back into the market. But at this moment, let's talk about the sell-offs we've seen so far, highlights of movement in the market and what we should expect in terms of the follow-ups to the notable company announcements from this week.
All right, thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. So what we've seen in the market really is, like you mentioned, the sell-offs that we've seen is basically because there are a lot of profit taken by investors, right? And the story is really divided into three, right? So the first part is investors' confidence has really been dampened with respect to the announcement of the dividends that we've seen from the non-banking sector, which has been at very record low, right? So you're seeing that because of the impact of the FX last year and some of the cost pressures that basically eroded the margins of most of these firms, we've seen that the dividend policy pretty much and the payout ratio really reduced, right? And that really has affected a lot of investment confidence with respect to the market. However, the other part of it is the banking sector, really. And if you look at the banking sector, one of the things you see is that, especially for the tier one banks, you see that a lot of these companies are currently trading at their record high, right? Ever since the 2008 levels. And now you see that investors are really cautious that, is this a bubble? Have we reached the top? How much more can we go? And we follow that a lot of them haven't even released their financials for 2024 for you to talk about dividend payout and things like that. So you would expect that naturally investors would also want to recoup a bit of their profit from the market. And that explains pretty much a large chunk of the sell-offs we've seen in the market. So if we are going to tie that story forward, right, what do we expect to see in the market? Of course, one of the things that when you see sell-offs like this in the equities market, one thing immediately does is it presents very attractive opportunities for you to key into fundamentally sound stocks. And then again, when you look at some of these stocks, you find out that they are beginning to present attractive price entry for you to come in and, going very heavy on them. So into March, what we would see is that as on one side of the divide, we see some investors really pally out their profit. We see quite a number of other people begin to take position, especially because of two major factors. One, rates are falling with respect to the fixed income market. So investors are beginning to, bring in the capital back into the equities market to be able to generate some real returns over what you would find in the FI market. And then secondly, dividend yield for the major banks, which of course is on the back of the 2024 results, which we know that would really turn out to be a very fantastic one, because even owing by the interim dividend they had paid as a Q2 of last year, we saw that many of them exceeded what is the historical interim dividend that they usually would pay. So it's only plausible that you would see the same story, right, by the time the final result comes out.
Definitely, Timilehin. But now let's talk about top picks for you now, your recommendations for this week, looking at takers here in terms of recommendations around whether to buy, hold or sell, or overall just exercise caution.
Well, all right. So when it comes to recommendation, the way we like to look at it is we do a sectoral analysis first. So currently, we are quite very bullish on the banking sector, also on oil and gas, because you would agree with me that we've been seeing a lot of news around that side. And then the third sector that you would see that have done fantastically well is also the industrial goods, on the back of some of the recent announcements that you've seen, for example, the likes of Dangote Cement, who recently announced a $400 million investment in Ethiopia, which of course would double its annual production to about 5 million tons. So we are very bullish on Dangote Cement, the tier one bank, Zenith Bank. We've always been very bullish because when you look at the economic conditions in which some of these tickers operate, right, you've seen that they basically have gone through the toughest of economic period, and then they've shown a lot of resilience. And now the market is corrective now, in the sense that FX is stable. You see a lot more news, macroeconomic news, that are good or positive for these tickers. You would expect that the likes of Dangote Cement, Presco, even Dank Sugar, right? Dangote Sugar and Nascon would present very good opportunities for entry. However, I would like to just zero in on a particular ticker, which is going to be the Nigerian Breweries. You would agree with me that we've seen Nigerian Breweries price really just fall from the levels of 150 up until 30s now, right? Which is basically on the backdrop of, one, the level of liabilities that they have, both on the debt from the parent company, right?
Yeah.
And as well as the local debts that they have. And now these guys have done their right issue, raised about 600 billion. Now that debt is off their neck, right? Basically, it's a debt to equity swap. FX is back to a stable level, and now revenue keeps growing really strong. For example, their Q4 came out to be 80% growth quarter on quarter with respect to revenue growth. Exactly. Now that the top line has remained very solid, so the moment the cost pressures are out, you would expect that the only way they can go is bullish. So we are very bullish on Nigerian breweries as well as other tickers.
Definitely. Thanks a lot for the updates there, Timilehin. That was Timilehin Junaid, research analyst at Norrenberger Securities.